G'day guys, my name's Bronson. I'm a web developer. Just here to give you a little bit of an idea and understanding of jQuery. Some of you might have heard it, some of you mightn't. Basically what jQuery is, it's a JavaScript code library that's designed to pretty much make your life easier. You can use it to animate CSS and div elements on your page. You can also use it for Ajax. It makes things really simplified, because if any of you guys have scripted using JavaScript and trying to access elements in the DOM, you'd know how lengthy a process that can be. Thanks to jQuery, it's actually quite a simple process, and you can refer to certain elements just by their ID, and it's just fantastic. I'll give you a bit of a rundown on basic functions of jQuery, and we'll go through step by step, and I'll try and do a series of tutorials for you on quite a few different subjects, and hopefully I'll get 5 or 6 out on jQuery that'll give you good understanding, and hopefully you'll learn to love jQuery like I'm learning to love jQuery. Alright, so first we'll start off. We'll create a new HTML page. And then from here, the first thing we have to do is import the jQuery library. So the easiest way to do that, we'll just go off to and we'll search for jQuery and Google. And we'll go there. And you'll see on the right hand side here, you've got a few featured downloads. Now the best way to do this is just to basically right click, and then you'll see you've got a few different options here. So copy link location, and then we'll go back to Dreamweaver, and we'll make sure we're in the head part of the page. We'll go up and choose script, and then we'll ask for a source, so you can just paste in that source. And now you've just attached jQuery to your page. Now let's have a look. Of course, at the moment we don't have anything on the page, so we'll just do a quick div, and we'll give it the ID of content, and we'll close it off. And you've got a new div on the page, which of course will refresh that, and you'll just see this little element. Now the next thing we need to do is, well, firstly I'll save this document, so we'll go save as, just call it jQuery, and save. Okay, next thing we need to do is to maybe give this div just maybe a background color and a bit of a width and height, so you can see what happens when we execute some jQuery. Okay, so I'll go File, New, CSS, Create. Okay, and then we'll have to start a new CSS element for content. We'll give it a width of, say, 400. Do the same for height, 400 pixels. I'll give it a background color. I might choose maybe an orange. We'll save that, and we'll just save it. Technically I should do another folder, so I'll call one CSS, and then in here I'll just call it style for the moment, and save that. So we've saved that. Now I need to attach this to my page, so if we go over to the right hand side of Dreamweaver, you've got an attach style sheet option. Click on that one. We'll choose browse. I think it picked it up already, but we'll point to the document. OK and OK, and you'll see now we've got our div down here, and it's exactly like I asked it to. So we've got, yeah, the height and width and the background color there. Now what we need to do is to add a function using jQuery, and I think I'll just start off by perhaps making this so that when we load the page, the element disappears. So firstly, I'll just load this page as it is by pressing F12. I'll say it's been modified, just go yes to all, go yes to there, and you'll see this is our page here, and it's just basically just that square. So close that one down, and we'll go back to Dreamweaver. And now you can do inline functions in your page, but I've always preferred them to be in external files, just because down the track, say for CSS or JavaScript, it's always nice to do what's called minifying your external files, which is basically just removing all the white space and making everything on one line. It just increases your load time for pages. It is difficult if you have to go back later on down the track to modify either your CSS or your JavaScript, but I'll probably just do a tutorial later on about how to minify things and what a good way of storing the files is before you actually minify them, so if you do have to go back at a later date to change them, then it's quite easy to do. So anyway, back to where I was. We'll do a new JavaScript file. So JavaScript create. We'll save this one before we even start work on it. Go up a folder. I like to have a JS folder for my JavaScript, so we'll go in here. I might just call it functions. And we'll go back to our jQuery one, and we'll need to add in that script into this page. So up the top we go, script, browse, functions. It's picked up that already. Okay, and just Control S to save that one, and we go back to our functions. So now, as I said before, what I'm going to do is make this so that when we load that HTML page, that div element just disappears. So for if you've done any JavaScript work before, you'll know that some people do a function called init_all or initialize or something along those lines, and basically what happens when you load the page, the function gets initialized. So essentially it's just everything's loaded into your browser and it's ready to go, and the browser just waits for your interaction on certain objects or links, and when you click on those, it knows what to do because it's already loaded functions relating to those triggers into its memory. Okay, so with this one, with jQuery, the easiest way to start an initialize function is just by doing a get. Any $ is referred to as a get. Then we do a bracket and go function, and then open close bracket, and then curly brace. Then you'd like to do enter a couple of times, remove that indent, close your curly brace, close your bracket, and with semicolon. Okay, so essentially what I've done there is initialized the JavaScript to actually be loaded into the browser when the page is loaded. So another way to do this, I think, is something like window. Let me think. I haven't used it in ages. Window.onload or something along those lines. I should have looked that up before I started rambling about it. But this is the quickest, fastest way to do it. So just stick with this, and you'll do what I do and forget how to do the old way. Okay. So now, if we want to refer to the div that we've created, it's really, really simple with jQuery. So we'll do a get again, and then brackets, and then a quotes, and we called, if we go back to jQuery, if you remember, we've got div ID is content. So if you are referring to this in CSS, you know that you just put a hash sign then content, and it's pretty much the same in jQuery. So we've got our quotes there, so we go hash content, and I've just referred to that element. Simple as that. You don't have to do any of the get element document.get element by ID or any of that jazz. It's just as easy as going get and then the element's name, which is just brilliant. Now the function that I'll just use here is called the toggle function. The toggle you can link to events, so later on down the track I might just do a quick little link that you click on, and if you click on it when the element's there, then the element will disappear, and if you click on it again and the element isn't there, then it will appear, and that's essentially the function of a toggle. So if it's there, it'll show it. If it's not, then it'll remove it. So it's as easy, just all lowercase, toggle, open close brackets, and then end that, and save that one, and then we'll go and load our page. And in theory, if I've done everything right, we'll be able to load this, and you'll see that that div that's down here won't exist anymore. So we'll just press F12 and see what happens. And there you go. Got a page with nothing there, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so I might stop that one there, and I'll start